Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Mr. H.L. Rai.
Good
Mr.
afternoon.
H.L. Rai, let me introduce our host today, our guest today. Mr. H.L. Rai is the managing director of Zircar Refractories. Zircar has been in this industry for quite some time. In fact, 1996 was the year the plant started the construction work, and the plant went on stream in the year 1999 in the month of June, if I am not mistaken. So, first of all, Mr. Rai, big congratulations to you on your 25th anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is your 25th anniversary, a great occasion for you to celebrate 25 years of successful running of the Zircar plant. And Mr. H.L. Rai is a renowned ceramic engineer from his master's MTech in ceramic engineering, and he's also a gold medalist. So a brilliant career Mr. Rai has enjoyed by virtue of being a very well-known ceramic engineer in this country, and he has taken this industry forward. In, if I'm not mistaken, in 21, 22, the company had almost touched a figure of about 100 crores, and I'm sure the journey ahead will be a very bright one. And once again, I would like to repeat that the refractory industry plays a very major role in our steel industry. In fact, not a ton of steel can be produced in this country without the refractory being used in our furnaces. And like the mother protects the child, the refractory industry protects our furnaces. So refractory is like a mother industry to our steel industry. And as you all know, 70% of our refractories actually go into the steel industry. And the Indian refractory industry is valued somewhere around $2 billion, which is about 15 to 16,000 crore. Out of which you have major players as well, the not so big players, the smaller players all together. So it's the number of refractory producers in this country is quite large. It is, I would say, a kind of fragmented industry where, along with the big names like RHI, Calderis, TRL Kosaki, you have the smaller ones as well in this industry, which I think has a long way to go when India talks about 300 million tons of steel production by the year 2030. And looking beyond, we are now talking about 500 million tons by the year 2047, when India will become 100-year-old independent country. So, as per the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, we have to take the steel industry forward, and the kind of schemes which our Honorable Prime Minister has launched, including PM Gati Shakti, Prime Minister Awas Yojana, and all Gram Sadak Yojanas that we have developed, connecting four corners of the country with the national highways. So I think the potential for growth, and just recently, a week back, World Steel Association has issued its short-term outlook, where if you notice, India is the only major steel producing economy which has shown consistent growth since 2021. And we are 8% plus growth in steel industry, whereas even countries like China, if you see, they are having a negative growth right now. It is expected their growth, they will have a 3% negative growth this year. So keeping that in mind, I think it's the right time for Zircar to be celebrating their Silver Jubilee 25th year. And without further ado, I welcome all our guests who are watching us live on YouTube. This transcript of the interview will also be carried in the next issue of our magazine, Steel and Metallurgy. So please look out for the print edition of the interview of Mr. H.L. Rai, as well as the YouTube recording, which we are going live today. Thank you so much, Mr. Rai, once again, and a warm welcome and happy Dasera Navaratri greetings to you and all your team at Zircar. With your kind permission, may I start, Mr. Rai, with the first question?
Okay, no problem.
Mr. Rai, a very, very good afternoon to you. We understand Zircar Refractories was registered in the year 1996, but it took 3 years to for the plant to go into production. And in the month of June 1999, you started your commercial production. Now, as you are celebrating your 25th year of operation, how would you evaluate your journey as a refractory producer during the last 25 years?
You see, it all depends how you compare yourself and with whom you compare. If I compare with my friends who studied with me, with the people whom I I'm normally connected to, I consider it is a very successful journey. And many feel that I am the role model for many people. If you do compare with a big organization, probably the journey doesn't look so nice. But on overall, I'm very happy, pretty confident that we have done wonderful and we'll be able to do wonderful things in future also. So far the journey has been, because we started with the zero. Practically when I started, I was the one and only one. And today we are having almost 470 people with me. We have a big supplier family, we have big distributors, we have 25-30% of my business in exports. So we have big team, and that's why I see a very wonderful journey in future also.
Thank you, Mr. Rai. I know you are on the pioneers in this industry, especially, if you look at what your history has been working with the Germans to begin with, and then with all the international collaboration that you started at that point of time. I don't think anyone thought of even having such excellent collaboration with players in Europe. Now, Zircar touched about 100 crore turnover, as I said, during 21-22. And could you highlight the details of your performance, both in terms of tonnage and value during the current fiscal 24?
The last year, 23-24, we are a little bit more than 125.
Great.
This March 24th, we closed at 125 point something, I don't remember exactly. And out of that, basically, actually, if you see the history of Zircar, we were primarily crucible manufacturer, which is used primarily for non-ferrous industry. And probably now we are the only company in the country dealing with the non-ferrous and the ferrous sector also. Now in the ferrous sector, my business is around 30-35% of my turnover. And I have big imagination with the imagination of Mr. Modi, where from 140-150 million tons to 300 million tons and to 500 million tons, what you say. Certainly with the passage of growth of India steel sector, I'm sure Zircar will be benefited. And I imagine that today we are probably 70-30-70 is a crucible segment and 30% is probably the steel segment. But in next couple of years, my imagination is the steel sector will be probably 70-80%, and the crucible sector will be probably 25-30%. And to the best of our ability and knowledge, we are trying to grow, we are trying to enter, we are trying to convince my steel buyers. For example, right now my trial is going on with Salem Steel, with the total trellis management, and we are doing for the first time. And I'm quite happy so far the journey, whatever we have done, few trellises. So far it has been a very wonderful journey, and we did for the first time in our life total trellis management, the material supply, application, everything we are doing, and I'm quite happy the journey so far has been quite nice. We participated in Ankiros in Turkey only last month. There also we had very positive vibe. Things are looking positive.
Thank you, Mr. Rai. Great to know that, and I know exports has always been a major thrust area for you. So I only hope that your business volume in the steel industry will go up in the months and years ahead. And moving ahead with our next question, today Zircar has a state-of-the-art production facility at Mehsana in the state of Gujarat, where you have been contributing throughout your life. I mean, someone who has spent more than 40 years in this industry, with your industrial experience of black refractories. As a ceramic engineer, you have been pioneer in crucible manufacturing in India, which you already pointed out, and you were the, I would say, the first one who brought crucible technology in this country from Germany. Would you take us through your journey at Zircar since its inception in 1999? How has the journey been so far?
See, since you are deeply associated with the steel sector, on the WhatsApp group also I see, and it shows your wide contacts with practically everyone at the senior level with the steel sector. And you see, in the steel sector also, the refractory, if you see the black refractory is the very, very critical, or probably the finest refractory in the refractory segment. Fire clay could be the lowest quality or the cheapest quality, and the black refractory will be at the highest level. If not the topmost, probably the second topmost one. Fortunately, my lifelong, my first job was with Carbonundum Universal, and there I was with silicon carbide. I was there for about 4 years, 1977 to 1981. So throughout my life, people get experience of black refractory generally at the end of their career. But I started my career with the black refractory, and whatever I do, it is all black, black, and black. Fortunately, I'm also black, so my black color matches with my black refractories. My growth, you see, if you see, because we are connected with the auto sector in a big way. You think of any automobile, the components are primarily with the aluminum and aluminum pressure die casting, low pressure die casting or high pressure die casting. It goes through the crucible route, and we have big sale to auto component manufacturers. When population grows, the auto sector is likely to grow. Auto sector grows, the crucible market will grow. And luckily in the crucible market, we have reasonably big segment, big share with us. So I see fairly good scope even in the crucibles side. And then we are having big imagination. We are trying to invest on that one in terms of manpower, infrastructure, trying to reach to different people. So I see there it is. In fact, we have done many things for the first time in the country. For example, as you said, the crucible was till the plant was put up, where I was the project manager, where I got the technology from Germany. I was there for many years. So first time the crucible was brought through me, by me in India. And whatever crucible is being manufactured, they are all my children. So I certainly I have big respect, and people know me, and that made me really confident to start my own company. And I'm quite happy that crucible sector we do wonderful. Whatever people cannot do, we are capable to do that part. Similarly, in fact, I was the first person to make import substitute for Indian railway. For railway wheels are being manufactured by rail wheel plant. That plant is with Griffin's Technology, USA. And I think if I remember correctly, that plant was started in 1978 till 1991, when the Indian foreign exchange reserve was it came down to very bad stage. They were importing practically everything from there. The technology supplier was supplying the material. The plant was in very bad situation because the material was not available. They put up many exhibitions. throughout the India. And luckily, I was in Bombay and saw that exhibition. But there, practically, I think every refractive manufacturer might have started developing the product. But I was the first person, lucky person, that I could develop 2 products for them. And from that time onwards, I think they have stopped importing. So last almost 35 years, certainly contribution to Indian economy and Indian railway. They make more than 200,000 wheels, and certainly I have a stamp on that one. So we supply 2 product. Of course, the plant which I left, they also make now, and we make. So that was also the first time we did. So many products for many industries we have done, which they say that it is they had the problem with the current suppliers, and we developed for something to them, and they were happy. So we have quite a few first time things product we have made.
Thank you, Rajab. Really good to know that you started your life with Coromandel Universal. And I have met Mr. Murugappan personally, and he's such a visionary, such a great human being. That's where your beginning comes from. And you have been very successful in the so-called Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative from the time when no one knew what Atmanirbhar Bharat looks like. So
here, Mr. Mukherjee, Mr. Murugappan, when he came first time in Carborundum, he was going to every department for a couple of days. So he came to my department, Super Refractories, and he was sitting in front of me for a couple of days.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate the simplicity and greatness of Mr. Murugappan. I always have tremendous respect for him, because I saw him as such a down-to-earth person, really down-to-earth and really appreciable.
I offered him my chair, but he didn't sit there. He sat in front of me. I don't know whether he remembers or he doesn't, but I remember.
Great. So now we'll come to a very important part, which is your entire range of products. If you could throw some light on the range of products produced by Zircar at your plant in Mehsana, Gujarat. I also understand that you have mentioned in the past that you do not have any immediate plans of acquiring any companies, or so to say, go into brownfield, much of growth. Rather, you would want to, in fact, consolidate your product mix right now.
You see, primarily.
So what are your product mix right now, and the range of products, and what kind of expansion and growth are you looking at in the medium and long term?
See, if we classify one class of product, we have crucibles, where we have pitch bonded crucibles, resin bonded crucible, isostatically pressed, and roll and forming. 2 class of products we have, and in crucibles we have every range for any kind of, including gold melting, e-waste. For every product requirement, we are capable to develop and make. We are making all sizes. Then we have for Indian Railway 2 products, stopper, they call clay graphite stopper, and in case we make that product. In fact, we are exporting a bit to Brazil, that one. Then slide gate refractories with the lower size, with the mini steel plants we are capable, because we have 2,000 tons press, 1,000 ton press, 750 tons press. So we are capable to make any size of slide gate, but unfortunately so far the requirement has not come to us. So primarily we are with 1 QC and 2 QC. We are thinking to go for bigger sizes, and practically for the slide gate business, we have complete infrastructure. We are capable to design, make the tooling, even we can make our own. We have that is the one product segment. We can make monolithics, not monolithic as a model of business, but particularly to support the steel sector, particularly to our customers. Whatever the castable remi mass or mortars are required, laying cements are required, probably we are in a position to make that one. Zirconia inserts. We have furnace. We have the complete facility. We make our own zirconia insert for making Tundis nozzle. So that is one segment. And for the continuous casting refractories, we have infrastructure isostatic. In fact, we have the biggest isostatic press in the country because we use for the dual purpose for crucibles as well as for CCR. We have in fact 1.2 meter dia and 2.5 meter height. So there we have the reasonably big capacity and we have the whole infrastructure. At the moment, my full capacity is not being used in the CCR because we are the initial stage and the market is big reluctant. They always ask the credentials. Though we export a lot of CCR, many containers, but the trader buys and they put they take the material to Europe. European customer, we don't know the customer. We know the trader, but who is the end user? I don't know. They must be putting their own sticker, and they must be selling Zircar product is going. And we supply thousands of pieces. We supply, and that credential Indian buyers they don't accept. This is really. From our point of view, it is a bad situation. We say we can show the thousands of bills we can show, thousands of export documents we can show. We have received the payment, we have supplied the material. That kind of credential is not being accepted by the Indian integrated plant. We are successful with the Bokaro Steel with the ladle shroud management, and hopefully probably will now get the chance to participate in the next tender, and hopefully the credential with the Salem Steel and with the Bokaro probably will get open the door and we'll have some credential in next couple of years.
Great. But I would always want you to be vocal for local and also cater to ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India plant in Surat, in Gujarat itself, where they have both electric arc furnace and mini blast furnace. Chinese MBF, they have a blast furnace from China, MCC, and they have electric arc furnace as well. So I would always want you to have a look at the AMNS plant also. And one of the major challenges that I see the refractory industry has, because I work closely with IRA, which is the Indian Refractory Makers Association. I work with CGCRI, Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute. I also work with Indian Ceramic Society for the various activities. And what I realize is two of the major challenges this refractory industry faces today. Primarily, what I feel, one is our over dependence on Chinese raw materials, and the other is shortage of skilled manpower. These are the two major challenges that I see. And of course, there are other challenges like, payments are delayed from the customers' end and all that. The entire cycle gets affected. But the two major challenges which I would particularly want to know from you, since you are a very experienced ceramic engineer with the MTech in ceramic engineering and a gold medalist, a brilliant student. So what are your suggestions to overcome these challenges? For example, creating enough skilled manpower for the refractory industry. Also, to overcome our over dependence on China. Of course, for some of the raw materials we have to depend on China. But how can we make ourselves really Atmanirbhar in the refractory industry? That is what I would like to know from you.
Mr. Mukherjee, if you remember, I don't remember whether it was 2 years back or 3 years back. You had a program. It was.
During the pandemic, you were there as a speaker in.
I think there was
yes,
something 2, 3, 4 years back.
Yeah.
There also, you see, my focus was that there is a big challenge, big opportunity is there because the 300 million tons of steel and 500 million tons of steel, the Indian GDP growing, so it all takes to the development that everybody has to develop, and the refractory sector accordingly will not be lagging behind. But somehow I'm not actively involved with IRMA. I'm not actively involved with REFCON. They are primarily the big suppliers. They are in the decision-making bodies. But my smaller experience says probably everybody wants to fight their war individually. In Bokaro, there was a conference, and I gave a big lecture on this, the raw material problem, and on the manpower. Manpower is practically, honestly, nobody will tell, but practically it is pickpocketing. I take the people from RHI, RHI will take from Vesuvius, Vesuvius will take from IFGL. This is happening. And even the quality of manpower at whatever level, the talent quality somehow, because I also take people, I really don't find very satisfactory. They have limited, majority have, barring few exceptions, probably I have not come across so far. They have very limited knowledge. For example, somebody comes with RHI, he will bring some 30 formulations, this is all. But on 30 formulation, if you take out his recipe from him, he becomes zero. Because he doesn't have knowledge on the material science, he doesn't have knowledge about the process industry, he doesn't knowledge in engineering, he doesn't have knowledge with the metallurgy. So he basically, so it is the pickpocket. Even my technology in this field, I have taken people from somebody from maybe IFGL, someone from RHI, from different people come with junior people particularly. So this is a big problem, and I think organization like IRFCON, IRMA, role should not only be for organizing exhibitions. I think discussion has to be serious, open, honest, fair discussion. What should be done? Because only 2 months back, I was with BHU ceramic department. In fact, I will be there in December. They are celebrating 100 years, centenary celebration on, I think, 15th, 16th, 17th. Where I'm one of the sponsor, and I'm trying to help them collect the money because I have studied and I give credit to the department. Whatever I am today, the credit goes to that department. So there, when I was talking to the students, majority of the students, they are there 4 years to get IIT degree, and majority will move to IT sector. The professors, they don't have any connect with the industry because they have come with the material science. They are not ceramic engineer. Not a single, I think, professor is a ceramic with a ceramic background. So they are finding difficulty in raising funds even for the centenary celebration because they don't have any connection with the glass industry, with the steel industry, with the ceramic industry, with the refractory industry. Even you might not have been invited. Being such a senior person, they should have contacted IRMA bosses. They should have contacted IRFCON bosses. They should have contacted steel plants. This is a big occasion where they should have invited the senior people from this kind of field, but they may not be knowing Mr. Nirmalaya Mukherjee. So my suggestion, I'm a very small person in this refractory industry. They should I think sit formally, informally, and try to solve. Because at the moment, if this industry is running only with the pickpocketing, and it's a very, very peculiar situation and pathetic situation. I think something should be done to the ceramic engineering courses in Calcutta, in NIT Jamshedpur, BHU. They should be encouraged. The student should think that okay, there is an opportunity, and if you learn, train them, because certainly we need it. The refractory industry had to grow. Refractory industry had to make really excellent product. I think certainly without them, taking anybody BCom, BSc, ordinary students whose educational careers were not good, what do you expect? They will do only what you train.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, what I noticed is since now I have sort of started interacting with the Indian Ceramic Society student chapter at IIT BHU. So there I am just referring to a message which I have just received from them. So good evening, everyone. I am Ruchi Sharma, President of the Indian Ceramic Society student chapter at IIT BHU. So she goes ahead to say that their placement cell is waiting for openings from the refractory industry.
I have received this. I have received this. I know. You see, question is they are also coming now this message because there is a the IT sector is not taking that so many students.
Yeah.
In past, I had taken. In fact, from Anna University also I had taken 4 students 1 year back, and
Yeah.
after 1 year they left. The same thing with the BHU. So basically, I think this the body of IRMA, particularly you have to convince the students department from Calcutta, from NIT, or from any place where there is a ceramic education that students don't worry, there is a career, there is a prosperity, you'll be happy, you can get the happiness in this sector also. And the big bosses of the big industries, if they give the presentation, have the interactions. I'm not talking for one college, many colleges. I can talk of only Calcutta, NIT, Jamshedpur, and BHU, but there might be, even I don't know, there might be many more.
Yeah, and in fact, there is a strong need for an academia industry interaction.
Yeah, and in fact, I will, if you can, I will be very happy if you can organize a meeting anywhere in India where the refractory industry, the seniors are there. I can also come there and let's talk on this subject because this is very serious. Talking about this only once in a way will not make, because I'm fighting my own problems. RHI might be fighting their own problem. Vesuvius will have their own problem. Fighting individually will not make the difference.
Right.
Primarily, everybody is running the plant. Whatever I'm running with my knowledge, and if some people I'm having from some industry. But if I want to take some students, but I don't know whether they will stay in this. In past, I have burned my finger. So basically, I think this is the cooperative job. Everybody should trust on each other, because the meeting and talking doesn't mean I'm giving technology to them. Common problem can be solved. For example, the raw material. Why not the senior people can talk to the ministry about giving some facility for the people to start manufacturing smaller plants? Why everything is being imported?
Right. In fact, this is one thing which I wanted you to address. How can we find alternate raw materials? Not just it is not just possible to replace the raw materials or the minerals which are not available in this country. So we can look for your research work on alternate raw materials which can at least to some extent replace the huge import bills that we are incurring.
You see the recycling concept in the slide get refractories. We have put up a big plant, we invested around 4-5 crores rupees, where the crushing grinding plant, where we buy the old used slide plates and we reprocessing and using that as a part of the raw material. So this activity, but in every industry it is not happening. It can happen everywhere. Everywhere it can happen.
Yeah.
So basically, I think one thing which is missing in this industry is, I think, talking to each other, at some senior level, the decision-making level. Maybe the project could be given to CGCRI, where the question which you are asking, probably this question could be given as a project to them. Right. The refractory technology scientists there, they can think because they are full-time on the job. The smaller industry like me, we have 1,000 problems with related to bank, with the export, with the manpower, with the many problems. We are busy with the day-to-day firefighting things. But if there is a cooperative things, trustworthy discussions, and then we can also participate in financially in that the project should be given to the experts from the CGCRI or any organization where focused development is taking place, and I'm sure it is possible.
Absolutely.
It is not impossible that you cannot replace this with that material.
Yeah, since you have given me the idea, the next thing I'm going to do is to discuss with my good friend, Mr. H.S. Tripathi of Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute in Calcutta, how we could involve IMMT, Institute of Minerals and Materials Technology, which also comes under CSIR. So all of them, if they can be brought together along with the IITs, the ceramic engineering colleges that we have, all of them together, we could find out a resource mobilization from the academia, as well as do pilot projects, small pilot projects from whatever grants are given by the government, to do a kind of research work on developing alternatives. And point number two, I think you are already aware, during my last conference last year in Kolkata, I had brought in Mr. Abhijit Narendra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Steel, and he came and openly announced during my conference that the refractory industry is being brought in by the steel industry or Ministry of Steel for PLI 2.0 initiative. So productivity linked incentive will be offered to all refractory producers to ensure that you add value to the chain at the end of the day. So there is a good, I would say, effort on the part of Ministry of Steel, Government of India, to involve the refractory industry in terms of PLI initiative. In fact, one of the webinars which I did, I had brought in Mr. V.K. Saraswat, member of Niti Aayog. In fact, he went into the depth of the refractory industry, and he said, I am surprised with, when I dug deep into the subject, I found that there are enormous challenges in this industry, which the government needs to support as well. So I think efforts are being taken up, but we should all come together. In fact, we have a small refractory cluster in West Bengal, which is very close to Durgapur. In fact, it's very close to Banpur, the border between West Bengal and Jharkhand. So they're all very small size, micro and small enterprises do exist. I'm trying to promote them as well. So, whatever we can do to promote the smaller players, because the big players do not need much of promotion to be done because they have enough funds to spend. But the smaller ones are the ones who need more support. I think we should all work together to help everyone in this industry. And now I'll move forward with the quality issue, which is again a very important issue. Since 70% of refractories are consumed by the steel industry alone, what are your recommendations to your customers as far as choosing the right quality of refractories are concerned in critical area like blast furnace, casters, wherever we need to use quality refractories? In any case, payments are linked to number of heats. But how do you ensure that quality is delivered at the end of the day, and not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry survives by selling, I would say, not of very high quality products using inferior raw materials? So how effectively can you address this issue?
See, the steel sector, my experience is not much, but whatever is my educational background and whatever industrial experience I have since 1977, I'm in the industry. We have done many things for many people, and it was for the first time. So I believe that once you have knowledge on the materials, if you have knowledge on the processing, if you have knowledge on the metallurgy, applications. For example, in the Bokaro, once we got the trial order, I sent my people there to see the application detail. They were there for a couple of days. They have seen the whole thing. We changed the design. We changed the specification, manufacturing specification. And in fact, we were the first one to give more than 7 heats on the ladle shroud. Till that time, even the tender was 6 heats. We were the first company in that, and in fact, we were the first company. We went with a ladle shroud management. Earlier, it was only supply. So even though we did for the first time, but we were able to do because we deputed people on the designing side. We deputed people to see the application. So if there is a cooperative part, that steel industry is ready to accept our suggestions also, and the manufacturer is ready to go into detail, not in copying things, because sometimes some product is working, but it is probably working with the old mindset. So both the side, if they are ready to change, I think certainly the performance could be improved.
Thank you, Mr.
We
Rai.
we have done a lot in the crucible industry. The performance which was 80 hits, we have taken to 250 hits. And it was slowly because, for example, to the pencil industry, we made some product. There, the life they were getting with ordinary fire clay cycles and all 3, 4, 5 hits. We give 150 hits.
Great. So that is where I would also, this is also my appeal to bodies like RDCA, Research and Development Center for Iron and Steel, as well as bigger plants like JSW, JSPL, all the sale units, and in fact to other private sector players as well. That you should also set up your own ceramic engineering department or refractory department, which should also contribute towards R&D efforts on performance guarantee tests, which will improve the suppliers, which will also encourage the suppliers to improve their quality at the end of the day. Now I'll come back to a very important question, because that is where you started. You started that by mentioning that when you were exporting to Europe, many of the end customers you did not know personally, but it was your dealers and distributors who did that job. Now, how much of your products are you likely to export during the current fiscal 24-25? And could you also highlight the details of your distribution network, both within and outside India, in terms of your exports to Europe and also within the country?
Figure outright, I don't remember, but I think we did export around 30 crores, if I'm correct. This year, it may not change really much, but efforts are being made. For example, in next month, I'm going to Europe. I got the visa only yesterday for 5 years. So we are trying with many countries. We are at the initial stage of trials, talking. But certainly in future, I see there will be big export component. My idea is to be a major business for me. You see, one thing here I would like to mention, probably you can play a very key role. You see, knowledge, I believe the knowledge pool is scattered in India. Knowledge pool is there, abundant knowledge pool in the educational institutes with R&D, CGCRI, with the manufacturing units, but they are all scattered. It is and a scattered thing cannot do anything. To make the chain, every loop has to be connected with each other. I think if you can, somehow you try to make the chain, bring everybody together, and if everybody is ready to work for a common cause, for example, the raw material, good quality raw material development, for talking to the steel plant, the good melting practices. Many times, to all the due respect, when my people go in the market, they say, no, we cannot change because we have been doing like this. Many places we find this is not a good thing because they do like this and the performance is here. But many times there is a resistance. And as a smaller supplier, the very small manufacturer, the weight of my voice is very small. If that is given from RHI mouth, Vesuvius, probably it will have the weightage. But if it is from Zircar, Zircar is flying. Zircar weight is, oh, you are teaching us? I'm here for 30 years in the steel sector. But the question is, they didn't know mag carbon long back. How come mag carbon? How dolomite has come? How CCR? CCR 100 years back, CCR was not there. Castables were not 200 years back.
Yeah.
Silicon carbide not manufactured in the world 150 years back. So everything comes some stage. Nitride bonded product consumption is hardly anything in the steel sector. Nobody talks of that.
Right.
Question is, you see, you are talking to me. I know something. There must be hundreds of people with a different industry. CGCRI must be having, like Dr. Tripathi. He will have lot of retired people from the CGCRI. That knowledge will be going in their bedrooms. If there could be something common, good for the country, I'm sure it is possible.
Thank you, Rasap. I think your point is well taken. But I still feel that this country is for everyone, whether you are a big player or you're a small player. I'll give you an example of the steel industry where I belong to. So in the steel industry, earlier there used to be a clear difference between the big players like SAIL, Tata Steel. Of course, ArcelorMittal was not there at that time. It was SR Steel. And then you had JSW, JSPL, etc. Then the Ministry of Steel brought out a circular mentioning very clearly that you cannot call anyone primary or secondary. You can call them bigger players, smaller players. That's different. But you cannot call them primary and secondary producer. And when it comes to bidding for a project, you have to give equal opportunity to the big players and the small players. This is why, on one hand, I work with the Association of Big Steel Players like Indian Steel Association, ISA. At the same time, I work with 1,800 smaller players who have an association called All India Induction Furnace Association, which is now called IFA, Sustainable Steel Manufacturers Association. I work very closely with them because, when I travel to Germany, I travel to Europe in their conferences. You went to MITEC. I have been going to MITEC since 1999. Every 4 years, last 5 MITECs have been attending continuously. And I found that even smaller countries like Germany, if they can work with one single association, why do we need, fragmented groups to fight against one another? There is so much in common. And कोई अपना रोटी छीन नहीं सकता. अगर किस्मत में रोटी लिखा है तो मेरा रोटी मुझे मिलेगा. So I am of the opinion that we need a fair playing field for everyone in this industry.
You see, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, one scientist approached me maybe around 3-4 months back. They said they will not be big buyer, but they need some very special crucible for a very special application, and they will not tell even the application. And we are able to develop for them, and the small quantity they keep on buying once in a way. And it is not part of the big turnover, but certainly it gives satisfaction to us that we were able to do something for them, and without knowing the application. They gave just broader idea. Small crucible with a continuous casting concept where we have used CCR knowledge, we have used crucible knowledge, high thermal conductivity. We have used those concepts and we did. And it gives happiness that we were able to support somebody with some need because they were importing some product.
Great. Yeah, that's the spirit actually which needs to be inculcated within our country. And Raisa, I have taken a lot of your time. Now I come to the last question, which will conclude our interview for the day. And I once again, request everyone to watch out for the print edition of this interview. And this YouTube recording is there for everyone. You can share it. Please share forward amongst your peers in the refractory industry, in the steel industry, so that we get to learn from Mr. Rai's suggestions that he came up with today. So as a last question, Raisa, I would like to know, as the managing director of Zircar Refractories, what do you think are your greatest achievements since 1999 at Zircar, and how would you like to see this company as a major supplier of refractory products by the year 2030? Because 2030 is something which we all keep referring to, because that is the time we have set a target to achieve 300 million tons. So by 2030, what is the vision that you have, and what do you think the refractory industry also needs to do to cater to a situation where 300 million tons of steel will be produced in this country? So what is it that Zircar and the industry needs to gear up to meet this challenge?
Your question, if I put in two parts, what is my achievement, the biggest thing? My biggest strength is to do something which nobody is able to do. And I take risk. I believe in the theory of high risk, high gain, less risk, less gain.
Right.
So we have done some very special crucible for Assam carbon, which they were importing, and it is molten copper at high pressure. No crucible manufacturer even think of. We did for them cylindrical crucible where they handle with a high temperature with a crane and all. So my biggest strength, I believe, is to do something which nobody has done earlier and nobody is interested in that one. Second part, for 300 million tons, I see big chance for Zircar to grow in the CCR, SGR field, and to be a responsible, supportive supplier to meet the needs of the steel sector refractories. And I'm sure with our efforts and our actions, decisions, what we are doing, we will be able to do, because I have big imagination for the turnover by 2030. I cannot talk, but because people might think that it is ridiculous. I cannot go from 125 to that figure. It might look odd for some people, but certainly I have big imagination, and we are working on that one. We are trying to take some action. Your question was to taking over some company at the moment. No, we are not thinking. We are trying to grow here. Yes, we do look for some big technology supplier. If somebody is outside India, if he's looking for some base where they can help support. For example, I consider marketing is our core strength. Technically, we are very strong. We can understand, we can absorb, we can develop. Whatever technology somebody can give, we can make better. But the marketing part, yes, I personally feel that is the weakest area for Zircar, and for that we are working how to strengthen that part. So certainly there is a big opportunity for all the refractory manufacturers, whatever product they are manufacturing, to grow in this country. And similarly, Zircar also has big imagination.
Great. Great. So great to know that you still believe in organic growth and you're not looking at acquiring companies, so to say. At the same time, since you are yourself a ceramic engineer by I would say breed, because you grew up as a ceramic engineer. So I think you have a lot to contribute in terms of product innovations, technology. But since the marketing effort is little weak in Zircar, that I think you will be able to have good people on board, so that successful organizations, end of the day, is built by successful people. In the recent past, there have been instances where you thought of bringing in some good people, but they ultimately left. I don't want to take names, but that's the reality today.
Yeah, I know what you said.
Yeah.
And
So
they are not there also.
yeah, that also I know. So end of the day, Raisa, you are a good human being, and once again, I wish you good health, because health-wise you had problems in the past.
Yeah.
So I pray for your good health. मैं ईश्वर से यही प्रार्थना करूंगा that
And I'm the one of the oldest. I'm one of the oldest. I'm 74 running.
Great. But you have still a long way to go, and I want to see you like this 10 years from now. So thank Thank you so much, Rai sir, once again. And I wish you a happy Diwali in advance. And hope to catch up with you very soon in Goa during IREFCON.
Yes.
I'll be there during IREFCON, so we'll meet during IREFCON. And since you are also in the WhatsApp group, I'll always be in touch with you. Take care,
Thank you.
and
Thank
we'll
you.
pray for you.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thanks.
Goodbye,
Thanks.
sir.
Thank you.
Take care.